So welcome everyone to our return to Perfect Connections for a new school year. We've actually been meeting for 2 weeks now. And I've had the great pleasure of having one-on-one meetings with Mary Schrader and with Greta Nelson. And it was wonderful. It was just like probably the highlight of my week. So it's great to see everybody in our group. And so let's go around and please share who you are for the home audience and where you're working or living or existing. I'm Susan Walker. Oh, and also if you have anything that you'd like to share today or for the group to talk about or anything that you need support on. So I'm Susan Walker, formerly with the University of Minnesota, and now just here. And I will turn it over. Oh, and I have nothing. I have nothing. I'm just so happy to see everybody again. And I will turn it over to Katie Anderson.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Good to be back on this call. I am from Jordan. I'm the parent educator here in Jordan. And maybe just, if you started classes, what worked great with your welcome back session and um, just if we get to that, if not, it's okay. I don't really have anything else, but it's just I'm excited for the school year to start. And yeah, our building has a new we got a new renovation this summer. So we've got all new um, classrooms, and I have a beautiful new parent ed room that's just mine. No laminator in here, no other stuff that everybody else uses. So I'm so excited. Yeah, it's like see how pretty it is. We got these pretty chairs, and I have this TV and my counter back there with my little Keurig, and it's just yeah, so pretty exciting. And I will call on Jennifer.
Sorry. Um, Hi, I'm Jennifer Wenner. I teach in the Minnetonka district and don't have anything in particular. I'll second Katie's interest in just knowing like back to school, anything new, fresh that you're thinking about or trying. And unprofessionally related, I am 2 weeks into being an empty nester, so I'm kind of figuring out what that's all about. So, and I'll call on Nancy.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Trahey, newly fully retired from Albany School District, but still joining you and trying to help take some notes so that everyone at home knows about resources. And we'll figure out a system and then make that more widely known about how to access resources and things that were shared during these meetings. And I wish I could see who else was there. I did hear, I think somebody say Nikki was there. So I'll turn it over to Nikki if she's still there.
I'm here. Hello, I'm Nikki Murphy, and I am a parent and family educator and home visitor in Robbinsdale. Yeah, I don't have anything specific either. I just wanted to come and check in with everyone and see my peeps. Um, I did have a thought though. Oh, I am curious to know if anyone has specific plans for diving into the Greater Good Science Center's workbook, the new workbook, and how that's going to play out. I can share later. I have a few thoughts and ideas, but I don't know what that's going to look like this year. So, and I will call on Amy.
So I'm Amy Ward, and I'm in my last year of school. So right now, I at the U, I have facilitation and curriculum writing development or whatever, which makes me, well, you know how I feel. Anyway, my I don't know. The facilitation part doesn't worry me in the least. The curriculum part makes me anxious as all get out, but I think that's an appropriate response. So my question would be, we were talking about this week at school, we started with icebreakers and all of that. And then Christy said maybe you should have a little notebook that you can jot down icebreakers, strategies, and phrases. So when you hear, like if I hear Shannon Rader give a good phrase on how to redirect or something like that. And I'm wondering if you guys early on did something like that or have any great little way of how to pay attention to school, jot down what you hear, and sort of organize the thoughts. So I was just kind of curious if you guys had any thoughts around like keeping track of some icebreakers, strategies, and phrases, just for those quick, easy, like when you're stuck, or to think about it another way, like a turn and talk or a chat or whatever. So that would be my question for the people that are got some good experience in this. Susan, you're muted.
Yes. So Amy, to clarify, do you mean just like as an educator, have a little notebook on hand to keep track of those ideas?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So like, is there a great little way of keeping track of some of those things that, doesn't get buried in one notebook and one course and one to the next? And I already feel like I'm accumulating this tub of half-written notes from different things that I may never go back to. And so I'm just curious if anybody has any little tips and tricks like that.
Great. Great. Thanks. Good. Okay. Well, wonderful. So we have, well, let me first do a quick check-in on the summer. Do you feel rested and relaxed and reinvigorated from your summer? Or would you like another couple weeks of sleeping and just sitting on your back deck and, whatever, watching Netflix or whatever you do? So how are you feeling about your summers? Anyone?
Well, I
I mean,
can
I would never
go.
say no. Oh, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm excited to have the families back. I did a little sample class yesterday, and there were 3 families. It was just tiny and fun. It was just an hour long. So I'm excited to see the families, but of course, always, I mean, the beginning of the school year, it pulls us out, from, out and away from family and home and all of those fun things. So I think it's a little bit bittersweet. It's both.
Mhm.
And I'll let someone else comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know I never would turn down sleep, but yeah, I think I'm ready to be back too. I'm excited to see the families. Um, my husband and I took a really fun trip to Europe late this summer, so that was just amazing. And yeah, so and I was gonna say, Jennifer, I remember that it's really hard. It was really hard when Hallie left for the first month. It was really hard, and then it seemed to get a little bit better. But I know I feel for you. That is tough. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Because rationally that you'll get, into a new thing. But right now it's like, oh, the house is so quiet. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling a lot of mix of things. The summer was fabulous. It was so much wonderful family time and travel. And so I'm really grateful for that. And also, but suddenly I'm not feeling rejuvenated. Just given everything going on in the community, feeling real heavy and yeah, real heavy and sad. Um, and trying to reach out for, my own support and supporting also the people near me and also thinking about, families, and what they might need. I'm dreading our first lockdown drill. So mix it. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I appreciate that that concern about the community. Um, uh, I had a wonderful summer, but that was not a real great way to end the summer. The day after that incident, my next grandchild was born, and so all the emotions were there. Our daughter and son-in-law's first child, and he's beautiful and perfect in every way, and they're doing great. And that's where I am and why it looks weird and why I can only see one of you at a time. um, but it bittersweet emotions at the end of the summer. Yep, yep. Thanks for asking, Susan.
Yeah.
Nancy, if you swipe on your phone to the left, you'll
Oh,
see all of us, either the left or the right. I'm not sure which one.
well, if I do that, then I won't be able to see the chat notes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But I
Thought I
can do
did.
that. That's a good suggestion for once in a while. Thanks, Amy. You are my tech wizard today. I am not. Thank you.
Oh,
Um,
I had a great summer. It ended with a almost 2.5 week trip to Australia to see my mother-in-law. And that was great. And today at 1 o'clock, one of our high schools is doing a walkout for attention, for the rights, for all the things. So the comments and the from the public are horrific, but I'm proud that they're using their voice. Because if the students don't start saying something, I don't know who we're going to believe anymore. So, and Jennifer, I'm sorry, that stinks. And I also know how quiet your house is.
mhm.
And I will tell you, it's kind of short-lived. Like after a month, you'll get into your groove and you'll enjoy it. And then they come back and it's loud and you don't like it. But yeah, especially when you're doing work by yourself, it's very quiet, but it it passes.
Keep that.
Well, welcome, Ellen. Um, we finished our introduction, so because we are recording, so watch yourself. We are recording. And so I want to make sure that you introduce yourself and especially let us know if there's anything you would like to talk about today. A couple of the things that came up that we're going to return to are like what has worked well with welcome back sessions and Amy had asked about, if you keep a notebook to just keep a track of good icebreakers and, oh, and here she goes. And there it is. And there it is.
No, I don't have icebreakers in here, but it is my notebook. And so I've got it all tabbed by which class and then behind each tab. I I I have to take notes now. Like my brain just doesn't. And what's interesting is I take notes in my newborn class, like as they go around and introduce themselves, I write down their name and their question. So if I just keep doing this, like there'll be a time when nobody doesn't remember me and taking notes in class. So I used to try to remember it all. I just don't. So, and I used to keep a folder for each class, and then I would accidentally grab the wrong folder when I took it. Yep, Nikki's got it too. Yes, let's go. Oh, you have one for each class, Nikki. Okay,
and
I all together.
Ellen, who are you?
Oh, hi. Everyone knows me. Well, I mean, anyone on the thing watching. Ellen Hafner, Parent Ed, Northfield. We have not started yet. We don't start till the 15th. So I'm just like, ugh, I'm so bored. Which I shouldn't say, right? Like, that's so stupid. Um, but I'm just here. We're meeting with our EAs today for a little staff meeting, and I'm just here. I'm just pottering around and getting my room ready and cleaning out cabinets. And I brought my label maker with me today, so making some labels, just getting myself as organized as I can for the year. And I'm excited. And I don't have anything. I have nothing to share. So I'll let the other people who have things on their minds go.
Great. And your
But
summer,
my binder is ready.
your binder is ready.
Yeah.
Your summer.
Summer was good.
thing
Summer
for-
was good.
Yep. Yep.
I got my sophomore settled at college and settling into a senior year with my son. So it's gonna be, yeah, I'll be empty house. It'll be very quiet next year, and I'm already, whew. So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So we can move on.
Right. Thank you all very much. Okay, so we're going to talk about what has worked well with welcome back sessions, and actually, let's start with this notebook only because we've already seen some examples, and then just we'll give some closure to talking about notebooks for ideas and for classes and things like that. So, based on what Ellen has said. Amy, do you have any questions about what she puts in the notebook or related to keeping track of icebreakers or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think that even just the tab thing could work for how I do this for school, just for like keeping track of what I hear for right now in one spot. And then it wouldn't get in the tote of I don't know what's going on behind me from last semester, right? So I feel like that in itself is good. So thank you. Again, I think it's just thinking about how do you organize your brain and then how will you reuse it? And so not getting overwhelmed.
Amy, I'm gonna put in the chat. I'm putting in the chat some connection activities that I would like to do each week. I haven't finalized it yet, but I'll drop that in the chat.
Thank you.
Like an icebreaker each week, except I don't want to call them icebreakers. I've been following Chad Littlefield a lot. He wrote the book Ask Powerful Questions, and that is a book now that they are giving the students. Yeah, do you have it, Amy? Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a phenomenal YouTube channel about facilitation, and so he talks about connection before content. And so I prefer saying that to icebreaker, and he does too, because icebreaker makes adults go,
Yeah. We talked about that. Someone calls it a warm welcome. Maybe Minneapolis. Somebody, tried other ways because I think icebreaker sounds like this crazy meeting you're in at work and you don't know anybody there and you could care about it less or whatever is kind of that. Yeah. But that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think it's kind of hard because you go from one style of teacher at the U to a very different style of teacher at the U. Susan, you might remember how, like, right? And so how you've kind of have it planned out, how you figured out it worked for this one, and this next one is very different. And then both of these classes are very meshed, which I think is great because it's going to be easier on me in the scheme of things. But separating them is kind of tricky. And so I'm trying to figure out how to, and then just teaching styles, which again is what we're talking about this week, is what is your learning style, right? So I think it just goes to show like, oh, what is your teaching learning?
I added one link into the chat as well. I had a specific group that had asked that we begin with a mindfulness exercise. And so this is just something that I created for that group, but every week we did a different mindfulness exercise. And I just put the folder into the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Amy, one thing I'll say as a former instructor in the program, is that one of the real benefits of any instructor is their own experience, right? But as an instructor, you have your own way of doing things that you've kind of honed. I mean, I really love the idea of teaching as art, right? And we are artists, and like any good artist, there is no one size fits all. It's kind of based on our personality, what works for us, how we read different, how we change up depending on the audience, depending on the content, whatever our teaching strategies are, whatever our goals are for an individual class, how much time we have, the context, things like that. But mostly it's like it falls to me under the category of what works for you, right? And I think we all would say that over time we've tried probably a dozen different strategies for XYZ, and it was number 13, or maybe it was 6 and 7 combined, right? That we come back to and we go, this is what works. This is what I feel really good with. And so just like any good preparation program, like you're getting ideas, you're getting good content, you're getting good strategies, but really it's sort of like driver's ed and then the experience of driving on your own, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're getting lots of good stuff, but you've got it. You've got it down with maturity and your experience and stuff like that, and you'll blend it and find what works best for you. And bringing it to this group, I think, is genius because you will hear different strategies from people, right? And so, yeah, I think that's great. So, yeah, keep it up.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let me, oh, and Sandy's here. Let's take a very quick break to welcome Greta and Sandy. It's very exciting to see you both. If you would, we are recording, and so if you would just share, who you are and where you're teaching from for our home audience. And then one of the topics we're talking about right now is sort of documenting or keeping track of your good teaching ideas that you would use as you go forward, or organizing your notes sort of for each class, just sort of those sorts of strategies. So I'm going to turn it first over to Sandy, and then Sandy, if you would turn it over to Greta, and then we'll come back to our question.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you guys. I'm Sandy Salter. I teach in the Fairmont area schools. I'm our only parent educator here, and I also do home visiting and kind of have taken over the role of like our advertising, social media wise and stuff like that. Let's see. I have to just say that for that question, Susan, that Ellen's Google sheet she shared with us last year just was so helpful because it just helped me organize and then easy to go back and look. And I put notes, like I had a space for what I was doing and then notes from that and then the next week. So like I can always go back and say, well, what notes did I put in there? Did that not work, or was that great, or what? So what Ellen had shared with us last year as far as organizing, that was just amazing and a lot of help for me personally. So I'll turn it over to Greta.
Sandy, can you remind me which was it? My curriculum grid?
Yeah, that's what it's on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Amy, you
I
want me
have
to
used
put
that for a
drop-
couple of years. I think you maybe ended up sharing it like 2 or 3. I think I'm on my 3rd year of using it.
Amy,
Yeah.
I'll send you a copy.
It's wonderful. It's great. It does remind me of the core curriculum framework that was, as well with the integrative. It's similar in that way for tracking and connecting. I'm Greta Nelson, and I work with Cambridge ICNE schools, and I am a parent educator here, and I am also the court screening coordinator, which is why I was late. I needed to get a couple screenings in, so I apologize for my tardiness. But we had some twins that wanted to go back to back. I don't usually cover over my lunch, but I thought, let's get both of them in together. So we did that. And then I'm doing a variety of other things right now in the program. I'm doing intake specialist, doing due process with special ed where they needed some help there. And of course, we have pyramid model for our reporting systems. And so I'm the data generator, which means I have to create a lot of stuff in the fall for all the teachers to use. So I've been kind of crazy that way right now. Haven't even thought about parent ed except for every other moment of my day when I love to think about it. But I haven't really started planning. That's next week because we start on the 15th. So I apologize. I don't have anything to say except maybe dittoing. I'm dittoing Sandy. I love Ellen's chart that she has. It's really been helpful. So kind of keep things organized, especially when you have more than like 3 or 4 classes. Mm-hmm. And if those classes are a lot of the same types of classes, then, and especially in the fall before you get to the classes kind of gel, and then you really can, oh yeah, I know exactly where we were. But in the fall, these first few weeks, it's always like, oh yeah, what were we talking about? So it's really important to get those notes going. So yeah, that's me. A little bit.
And Ellen just put the link, right, Ellen?
Yep.
Spreadsheet. Yep. In the chat, so you can see the wonderful thing that is that Ellen
Well,
just.
and again, like it's not perfect, like you're gonna look at it and be like, there's stuff missing. Yeah, because it's a work in progress. But and the links probably won't all work because not everything is visible to everybody, but you kind of get the idea of how I sort of organize myself.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people just need a template,
Right.
how have other people organized their thinking on.
And then what I usually do, like at the very bottom, if you look at it, you'll see that I have fall. What's that? Oh, that's a mistake. I will drag over fall 24. Like I'll take fall 24 over and put it next to fall 25 so I can put them side by side and be like, okay, what worked? What, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Good. All right. Amy, was that helpful? What a leading question, Susan. Amy, I hope that was helpful to answer your question. Well, if it's okay, let's move on to Katie's question, sort of to everybody on the floor about welcome back sessions and what works, what seems to work in your program, and what kinds of things do you do? Or for those of you who haven't started yet, that you're anticipating doing. And Katie, is this program-wide, like to greet all families, or is this for individual classes?
Just for ECFE classes where you have parents, who are separated and in a group.
One of the gals in class is currently teaching up north, probably on a variance. And she said she had last spring, she had her parents each come in with a question for a welcome or an icebreaker. And then she used a lot of those because, again, they had some buy-in for what the question might have been and then, kind of if they were inappropriate, she clearly didn't use them, but she built off of that. And she felt that in a brand new group where they didn't really know each other, she got some early buy-in from some she might not have thought she would have.
Okay, so maybe having them email her with a question, kind of, so she had it ahead of time.
Yeah, or she might have even said she just did it on the whiteboard. Like if you were going to do a question for the group to connect and learn about the group, what would it be? I think she did it a little bit more like that. Or is there something you really want to learn? Not necessarily what do you want to learn from this group, but like more about how to understand the connection in the group.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I love what you said, put in the chat, Susan. Obviously, we need to build relationships and connect before we try to present them with any information. And yeah, so that's a great thing to always remember too. Yeah.
Just reinforcing what I think, who said that? Ellen? You were talking about this person, this Greg or whatever, the person that you were reading. Yeah, and that was one of his principles, and I could not agree more.
Chad Littlefield.
Oh, I'm unmuted. I could have said that. I thought I was muted. Yeah, Chad Littlefield.
Yeah, Chad. I think that's, but it's true, right? So
Nikki put in chat. I'm using Rare Gems. I'm gonna do Rare Gems this year too.
Could you explain?
I might not do it. I might not have parents fill that out week 1, but I love the idea.
And what is Rare Gems for those?
Nikki, share it.
I wasn't going to say it out loud only because I don't know if it's just totally redundant, but I have parents fill out, I give them an explanation at the beginning of tell me something on this piece of paper about you that you're willing to share with the group that I would never know if you didn't write it. And I give them some guidelines. It could be about an experience they had growing up, family of origin. It could be something that happened to them when they were 20 years old. I mean, it could be anything, right? They can write anything. I delivered my child on a bus. I don't know. And they write their name on it. They hand them in. And then I hang on to those. And when we are gathering every single week, I actually will read 1 or 2 of them. And we guess who it is that wrote it. So when I read it, I'll say one of our group members shared, and then I read what they wrote, and they all try to figure out who this is. And so that's just a quick thing that we do. And I think they know too that it's to gather them together, because, just different groups will take a different amount of time getting their coffee and a snack. And some of them want to stand there for 10 minutes. And some of them would just be so quick. They'll go 2 minutes and they'll be sitting in their seats. And so that's been helpful too, because if I have a group that will linger, I will maybe just say, okay, I'm going to read a rare gem in just a minute, and then we'll get going. And as soon as I read it, everybody is listening, trying to guess.
So it's just like a drawing of like a diamond type of thing, and they can just write in it. Is that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you could do any way that you want. I just have these little pieces of paper. I think I've got, I print it maybe 3 or 4 on a page, and I keep those in my folder for each group.
Okay. Thanks, Nikki. That's a great idea. And I know I've talked about I don't know how many of you have the Connecting to Learn curriculum, but the volume 1 has a great kind of getting to kind of a sheet for the parents to fill out on the first day, kind of like what brought you here, what do you hope we talk about in parenting time, a few other questions. So that's something I always like to do on the first day too. Just I can get like a topic list sometimes from that, so that I find that pretty helpful.
I think for my Thursday night group is wild. And it's just, it's really busy, and we have like 14 families this fall. Because we're like, oh, let's say another family. It's fine. They won't all show up on the same night, right? And then they all show up. But I have a Padlet. I don't know if any of you use Padlet, but basically it's like a sticky note thing. Yeah. And it makes me mad that I can only have 3 Padlets. It's like, come on. And since what was the one that Google had? Google had a similar Jamboard, yeah. But I think what I'm going to do for that group is, like you said, Katie, kind of put that up on the board and have everybody. I don't love it because they're on their phones and it's a non-separating class. But just have them put it in Seesaw, and then whatever's on their mind, like, what do you guys want to talk about? Because I think sometimes that group gets overrun with questions and I never get to a topic. But if I can see the questions and be like, oh yeah, we have a lot of questions about blah, blah tonight, we'll talk about that. So I think I might make that my opening activity for that group every night. I cannot run that class the same way I run my other classes. It just doesn't work. And they are it's so hard, that evening class, because you're like, they haven't seen their kids all day and you want them to play, but they are so wanting connection with each other. So it's just hard, but I honestly think that my connecting activity for them every night will be what's on your mind, and put it on the Jamboard. And then we'll go. I'll do other things too, but like what you were saying, Katie, that'll kind of give me an idea. Yeah, Greta.
How long is that class, may I ask?
Hour 15. It's real short.
It's quick, yeah. Yeah. And what time is it?
It's 5:15 to 6:30.
We're always looking to see what other districts are doing as far as times to catch families in the evenings for especially
and I have a
classes.
Yeah, it's tough. I have a baby class right before that from 4:15 to 5:15. So I go from one to the next with no break, because that's just what we got to do to get them both in and out. So
Right, especially 2 in an evening. Wow.
and we have found that going after later, I know in Faribault we used to go until 7. And I hated it because those kids are falling apart.
Yeah.
Evening classes are not developmentally appropriate.
Yeah. But what are you going to do for working parents? My daughter-in-law
100%. Yep.
they'd love to do a class with their twins, but they can't find one in any of the districts around them that is in the evening for 2-year-olds. For a long time we did 5:30 to 7, because when you're out in Albany, lots of people are commuting home and they can't get there till any earlier than that. And we switched to 5 to 6:30, and the classes are smaller. it's hard to find something that's developmentally appropriate. I think it would
Mhm.
help us if we had maybe a Saturday class, but we just didn't have enough staff to get that thin. Hey, Ellen, I have a question about your Padlet, just so that I have a visualization about what that looks like, and I can write a good note
I'll
about
show
this on
you.
there.
I've
Oh,
got it
thank
right
you.
here. I'll put it in the chat.
And it's like Nikki said, she also does an interest inventory, so it is something along that line. No.
No.
Okay.
Nikki,
My
yeah.
interest inventory I do on paper. I give them
Okay.
some gathering thoughts about like kind of what I think Ellen had said earlier, like just gathering ideas of what it is that's on their mind.
Got it.
And I do introduce the Parent Ed core curriculum framework so they can see that really almost anything that they can think of is going to be fitting, that we can fit it into all of those domains. But the Padlet is just neat, like the Jamboard, because they
Oh,
can
okay.
all enter it from their phone.
Got it. Okay. Like it's similar to Jamboard. Great. Thank
So
you.
I just put it in the chat.
Yep, I opened it.
And you might be able to even like at the very bottom, like if you click on the little compose thing at the bottom, that you might be able to pop a little note up there. And it's anonymous. It's only showing I'm like, ooh, I see your writing, your little owl. It might only, I don't know if it'll show, I don't think it'll show names. I think it's anonymous, which is what I like about it.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, you guys are all writing in my Padlet. This is very exciting.
And then do you project this?
Yeah,
Or they're
I would
seeing,
put this up on
okay.
my screen. Adorable
Okay.
spider. That's so cute. I love it.
Everything looks a little different on my iPhone than if I had my
Reliable
laptop here.
cheetah, confident buffalo. You guys,
that
determined
fun?
squirrel.
I really like this. This is fun.
The only problem is you can only have 3 at a time, and then you have to pay for more.
Yeah.
3 what at a time?
3 of these Padlets. So like I could
Okay.
have this one, and then I could have 2 more. And then after that, and that was what was nice about Jamboard, because it was unlimited for Jamboard.
Oh.
But I don't think I need this for some of my other classes. I think this will work for my evening class.
I see, because it's running. It's a running kind of a thing. It's not it's not a one and done. You use it running. So if you
I can
close
delete.
these, got it. Okay. Got it.
I could delete these as we talk about them. And then I can say, oh, yep, you guys have got a lot of things on what, a lot of questions on whatever, but that's fun to see it in action. I had an idea of what it looked like, but and I probably will do a QR code, and put it in their Seesaw. So if they have a question, they can just put it in there. Then it doesn't take up question time, too much valuable question time. And we can get right to a topic.
One of the questions here is, do you feel it's equitable for your families?
Thank you.
Yeah. Ellen?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has a device with
Mm-hmm.
them. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So Ellen, this is a process question. So people have the link, they get on their phone, they put in if they have a question, and then so people can see what the questions are, you can see what the questions are, and then where do you go from there for an individual class? Like, let's say that there are 6 things, you're not going to get to all
Right.
6. So
I would look for duplicate questions.
Mhm.
So like if I have 2 people who have said, oh my gosh, my kid is hitting, or if I had 2 potty questions, or if you know what I mean, it would sort of consolidate some of the things. And then I would say, okay, we can't, I see 2 people are interested in this. Let's hit this tonight, and then we'll save this one for next week.
Mhm.
Because what happens with my Thursday night class is it's question after question after question, and then I never get to any topic. And some families like that, and some families don't. So I'm hoping that this can kind of narrow that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Sandy notes, she knows that there's going to be people there who may not have the technology she'll bring in.
Absolutely. Yep, I would do that too.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, and I only really asked because we were talking about this in class, and if you had ELL learners in there. I mean, like there's ways that this,
Right.
clearly works in some groups and not
Mhm.
others. But even in like English language learner groups, they talked about using how they do something like this and then have everybody use their Google Translate,
Yep.
and then they're able to ask or identify a question, so that there are ways to help bridge that,
Mhm.
even if it's not, their first language or whatever.
I cannot even imagine how much easier my ELL class when I first came to Northfield. I spent an hour and a half with families who didn't speak English. It was the worst hour and a half of my week. I'm not gonna lie. And I know Becca struggled with hers too. But if I think back to having the translation apps and technology now, that 10 years ago, it would have made such a difference. And I would have been able to do something like that, but that just wasn't as robust. But yeah, exactly. I would have figured out a way to translate it, and I would put my question up there in whatever English. I would have English and Spanish, or Spanish is typically what I have here in town, but
Cool. Great. Thanks, Ellen.
Something that comes to my mind. Can you restate the question? What is it we're talking about in the beginning of the year? Say it one more time.
connecting activities.
Yeah.
Connecting activities. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that I did a couple years ago, and I think I'm bringing back because I've missed it, is asking in the first couple of weeks what they would like in this group, in the sense of, did they come for education? Did they come for connecting? Did they come for humor? Did they come for, deep talks? I had a long list, and I have that somewhere. I'm gonna Google search it. It was like 15 different things. It was a long list. And I had them just kind of number first, second, third, or just check them. And then I took the classes and I put the words into a word cloud, because Susan had shared about word clouds and she was using word clouds a lot, even in this group. And so I did that, and it made the words that were more common bigger and less common. And I loved having them posted in the room. And I just posted what class it was. And then I made it big enough so that we could sit and see. And so at the beginning of class, I just reminded, hey, you guys, you really wanted a lot of laughter here. This is a place you really wanted to make friendships. Or this group really, you'll see, this group really is interested in topics of learning or parenting questions, or, and that really was a nice way at the beginning of each class period to bring us back to center as to what is it you wanted. And I liked it because it reminded me to have fun sometimes when I needed to be remembered. I might have gotten a little serious sometimes. I don't know. Or it might have been, this class really wants to learn some stuff. So make sure I don't stay into the hot topic of the day, but really get into the lessons that we're preparing for, right? And where they want to go as far as that. So that's one thing. I haven't done it for like 3 years. I'm going to do it again, I think, this year, because that year was great. I feel like people felt like they were heard, and it was because we were reminding ourselves and about this class specifically, right? But anyway.
Love that, Greta. If you find that list of what they want from class, would you be able to share it out?
Yeah, I'm not as good as Ellen and Nikki when they just throw things out, but I will try right now since we have a few minutes.
No rush. No rush.
But I will do it now. It's better than later, believe me. Yeah. But yes, I will do that. I'll find it.
Thanks,
Well,
everyone.
and actually,
they're great ideas.
I love that, Greta. And that's such a good thing to do on the first night. That'll help me figure out, like, what's everyone looking for, and that'll help me, determine. So, and you can change the question on the Padlet every night,
Yeah.
whatever you want it to.
It
So
made me
thanks for
think of
that.
something that I do probably like week 2 or 3, because we're just not ready to do our group norms because we don't separate for very many minutes the first week. Well, the first week we don't even separate. Anyways, when I'm doing group norming, I also explain to them, and I'm thinking about this, Greta, because of how we help our groups to feel heard. When I introduce the idea of sharing developmental highlights or what's happened over the course of the week, I ask them to share specifically and say, share support or suggestions so that we hear them in the way that they want to be heard. If it's just a share, we're going to thank them for having shared it, even if it's something that they said that was really hard. I just want to share. My mom is having a hard time. Thank you for sharing. Or if it's support, I want to share my mom's having a hard time. Then we can offer support and say, all the things like, oh, how are you feeling? How's it going? What's happening? And suggestions, right, is a totally different thing, because if we were to offer up suggestions to someone who wanted to share, they might not have been ready for it, or they might not have wanted to spend that time on that. They might want to come back to it in a month. They just wanted us to know where they were at. And so I'm really clear about that we want to make sure that we've heard them in the way that they want to be heard. And I also offer up the opportunity for them. Like if we ever, if you ever hear someone and wonder, was it a share, support, or suggestions, please, as a group member, just ask so that we all make sure that we're greeting them and hearing them in the way they want to be heard.
I love that shared language. That shared language is so helpful in refining the direction and the amount of time and energy that's put into something specifically within that class. I love that, Nikki. And I love that it of course, the articulation is great too. Starting with that.
I want to thank Nikki. I've been using that the last couple of years to such great success. It's really helpful in the group. And I try to make sure to refer to it throughout the year of like, oh, is this a share, or are you looking for, and then in every class I've had, at some point in the year, a parent says, this is really helpful with my kid too, or my spouse, or so. I love that. So
how do you guys
Nikki.
introduce it again? How do you say, I have this is a framework that I'll use? How do you introduce it?
I have it. I've made like a little poster of it that I keep on the wall. I know
I would love to see that.
Yeah. Well, and then you'll make it fabulous and send it back to me. But I just have the words up there and kind of.
Oh, I love this.
Again, like others have said, in some of those classes, those first couple of weeks, we're only separating for like 90 seconds. So as soon as we get to a place where we've had a little more time to be, and we usually start, I usually start my class with just kind of opening it up with what's on your mind, and especially that time, but throughout the time, I invite you, I encourage you to kind of name your contribution of, is this a share? Is this I'm forgetting them, my 3 S's, but explaining it just as Nikki just did. And I just kind of leave it there with that explanation. And then in the in some classes, it just picks up traction right away. In others, over those first few weeks, when a parent says something out, I'll say like, oh, is that a, and kind of reminding them to name it explicitly what they're looking for from the group in that moment. And it gets traction on its own pretty organically.
Oh, Nikki just put it in.
I just put a link to an entire slide deck.
Sure.
This was just one group that I facilitated last school year. And you'll see other stuff that is in that. But I do have, if you go to slide 8, that's just, lots of words on that page. But
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. I love it. Thank you. How has this never come up? Or if it was, maybe, sometimes we share things and you're just not in the right headspace to gather it and put it into practice. But I really like this for the beginning of the year.
It may have first come up to me on a walk with Nikki at a summer retreat.
Gotcha.
I do remember talking about this a little last year, because when we talked about it, then I did start implementing that, and I didn't use those S words exactly because I wasn't smart enough to put it in a poster like that so I could look at it to cheat. I knew I would forget, but I just had more casual, as I would open up for questions at the beginning, I would just say, does anybody have a question or something they need to vent, or, do you need any ideas or brainstorms? Like, I would kind of just lay out the different options of sharing, like with different words, but the same idea, because I did like that, and it did help. So
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'm thinking we may not have time today, but I am curious to know, you guys, over the summer, did anybody take like a good look through the Greater Good Science Center's workbook? No, okay. I stuck a link in there like way earlier when we were first generating our just things that are on our minds. But for anybody who does dive into that this school year, or if you wind up having groups, I am curious to know how you're doing that, or if you're going to have conversations, or if we want to talk through some of that.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. I was watching the clock, and I had I had scrolled back to get the name of what it was that you'd thrown out. And my intention was to exactly do what you're doing, which was to throw out the title, and thanks for reminding me about the link. I just reposted it, and I think Nancy might be too. And yeah, that people could take a look at it, and then we can talk about it next week.
Nikki, one of my fellow colleagues that's in school with me went to heard the spiel, and he's really
Me too.
interested in looking at it as we work on some of our curriculum. So perhaps we could even connect on that on another level, if that's the case, if you'd be willing to take 2 greenhorns under your hat.
Well, hey, Greta, it looks like you need says you need permission to open that last one you shared.
Okay.
It's okay. I mean,
I know, right? This is my
Yeah.
problem. Technology sometimes. Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, again, thank you, Nikki, for sharing that. I would encourage you to, well, would you guys like me to? No, it's okay. I'm just thinking, we get a text. I get a copy of the chat. And I guess what I was just going to say was, because I know some of you can see through the whole chat and some of you can only see from when you joined, just that Sandy had shared a number of great tech ideas, sort of tech, infused ideas as we've been talking as well. We have a lot of resources, so I really shared today. So I really appreciate Nancy helping me with documenting those. So that's our plan. For those of you who came in a little bit later, Nancy, I strong-armed Nancy in her retirement to not leave us, and to continue to share her wisdom, and also to assist us with documenting the resources that are shared in the meetings. So that, because there's so many wonderful things that are shared as we saw today, and then they just sort of like, like go out into the wind. So, so that'll be great, going forward. And, Nancy will come up with whatever system works out great for her. So, but yeah, so we'll rejoin again next week, this same time, same Zoom link. Amy, it's great to have you join us. Yay. And it's great to see everybody back. So tell a friend, bring them over. I will be posting the link to the video in the Friends of Family Education, and then I'll also send it out to the Perfect Connections listserv, because I know that there are folks who, when they can't make the meeting, do enjoy watching us. So, and so with that, any final goodbyes before we sign off?
great to see everybody again.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
yeah, great to see everyone.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone. Good luck with your classes and your life. Bye.
Bye.